this being nutrition, go ahead, comment what you have for dinner today. Let's start off there. What did you guys have for dinner today? Keep it simple. We're going to talk about nutrition, and the purpose of me doing this is there's so much noise out there in social media. Like, everybody has their 2 cents. Everybody's talking about this is better, that's better, whatever. And quite frankly, for me personally, it gets frustrating because it's like, who do I believe? Like, we're living in a day and age where it's like, I don't know who to believe anymore. And it just gets super, super annoying. So shout out to my client Amy. We're just kind of like, hey, I just want to learn this all for myself because that just helps me to weed out all the BS. Because that's what everybody's on. They're just trying to promote a product or trying to push prescriptions on us and not trying to get down to what we call the root issues, right? Everybody's like, all right, this is my symptoms. All right, here's your drug. This is what we're going to prescribe you. And it gets annoying. Like, why did we get there in the first place? So that's what I'm doing. That's my motivation. My motivation is to dig deep and to learn. So let me put all the disclaimers out there right now. I am not a nutritionist and I am not a dietitian. Okay? I'm a personal trainer. I am learning more about nutrition. I am currently enrolled into a nutritional coaching program online through Jason Phillips, who's like a super amazing nutrition guru, in my opinion. I found him on YouTube videos. He did talks at Google, and that's exactly how I found him. And I was just hooked. Like, I loved his information. I love his sincerity, and I just loved him being real. Like, he wasn't trying to feed anybody, buy my products or anything like that. And that's what made me respect him, and that's what caused me to invest in him. And that's exactly what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to help people on a whole nother level. I don't want to just try to promote a product, try to promote me. I'm trying to help people get in the best shape of their life. Okay? So, with that being said, hi Amy. With that being said, let's get into our first question. So, if you have any questions for the next video, go ahead and comment those, and I'll try to get that on, trying to make this more consistent. Now that I switched over to more of a semi-private setting for my clients, I have a lot more free time, so I can do more education. So, shout out to my client Sherry, who just started with me yesterday and who worked very, very hard yesterday. She did her semi-private with Connie, who is killing it. Connie has been a big motivation for me personally too, and I'll talk more about that later. But her question to me was, how do I bring more nutrition into a busy family without having to be in the kitchen that long? I think that is a lot of our issues. Even me personally, is I enjoy cooking to an extent. Like, I don't like cooking all day, every single day. Meal prepping is not like a strong suit for me. So let me be honest with that. But if I can answer her question, I don't have a big family. Okay, it's just me and my grandfather. That's it. So it's like I can't really relate to you in that sense. Do I come from a big family? Yes, I lived with 4 brothers and sisters. So I have all 5 of us as siblings. But my first instinct is, okay, let's make a little change. So I'm a huge advocate for little changes. Everybody wants to make these big, drastic change. Okay, so the analogy that I always use is, let's think about your New Year's resolutions. Your New Year's resolution is, I'm going to lose all this weight, I'm going to change all this, I'm going to do that, whatever the case is. It's usually this huge, drastic change. Okay, but now let's put it back into reality. How long have you been doing bad habits? Probably like years. So do you really think that you're going to break years of bad habits within this New Year's? Chances are probably not. And that's why we don't complete our New Year's resolutions, because they're too high and we're just trying to go cold turkey. Now, is there people who can just go cold turkey? Absolutely. But chances are we're not one of them. Okay? Unless you really, really want it, unless the doctor is telling you like this is life or death, then possibly. But let's be realistic. I'm a realist. Okay, so for you, Sherry, I would say set a goal of like, you know what? Every single dinner, we're going to have a vegetable. Something as simple as that. Now, if you have younger kids, obviously younger kids, they don't like vegetables. But if you can try to find, just by experimenting on what vegetables they may possibly like, or kind of like sneak it into their food, that'd be a good way to start, because we're starting with a small habit. So we're starting with the new habit of, hey, every day I'm going to make it my goal, I'm going to make it a priority that I'm going to sneak in a handful or two of vegetables. I actually do this with my clients through the Train Rise app. Excuse me. So one of my goals or habits for them is that they have to eat 2 handfuls. So just pick up some vegetables, and that's all you need to have for the day. Now, am I saying that that's enough? Is that sufficient? Probably not, but it's at least a start. It's a start in the right direction. So we're not just eating a whole bunch of carbs, rice, all that stuff, and a meat. Now we're throwing in some vegetables in there, and that could be all throughout the day. Okay, so if you just eat 1 handful for lunch and you eat another handful for dinner, bam, you got your 2 handfuls for the day. So my best advice for you, Sherry, is start with something simple. You can go to Walmart right now. You can find frozen vegetables that you can cook in a bag. Throw it in the microwave, bam, you got your vegetables. Another thing I could say on that is cook more. So have leftovers. Okay, that's another big thing, is if you're going to make chicken, cook a whole cooking sheet, put it in the oven, bake it of the whole bag of chicken. Bam, that eliminates all that right there. You have your chicken for the day, or just your whole protein source. So instead of just cooking for the day, be mindful for tomorrow. Okay, the term that I like is if you fail to plan, then plan to fail. Okay, so you always have to be planning ahead, thinking about your schedule, and nobody knows your schedule better than you. Okay, now obviously circumstances arise, but if you can help it, plan ahead. Okay, so those are my 2 big things. Implement some small thing. It could be eating 1 vegetable for a whole day. Every single day, you're trying to make it your purpose to eat a vegetable, or just cook big. Just make more than just what you guys are going to eat for the day. Try to think about tomorrow as well. So that's for you, Sherry. Next question, Amy. Hi, Amy. Is it better to work out in the evening or morning? And should you eat 1 hour or more before? So my best advice for this is it all depends around your schedule. So kind of knocking into what Sherry's. You know you. If you're going to be able to work out in the morning time, do the morning time. If you're not going to be able to work out in the evening, do the morning time. If you can't do the morning time, do the evening time. If you can't do either one, try to fit in a quick 20-30 minute workout and lunch. Okay, so nobody knows your schedule better than you. You got to just prioritize it. And I think that's where people go wrong, is that they don't make working out a priority. Now, am I saying that it has to be your top priority? No, but I feel like it should be a priority. And that doesn't mean that you need to work out 4 times a week. You know, that's another thing that we buy into, is that if I'm not working out every single day, I'm not going to get the results that I want. And that's not true, because we have something that's called NEAT. Part of our metabolism is non-exercise activity thermogenics. Okay, so in other words, if I move my feet and I'm doing less sitting, I'm still going to burn calories because I still have to move my muscles. Now, am I doing squats? Am I doing super high intensity cardio? No, I'm not. But as long as I stay moving, then I'm still have to use my muscles to a demand, and it's still going to burn calories that I need. So I'm a big advocate again for just moving. It's just as simple as that. If you can't make it to the gym, I know we're living in special times right now. If you can't make it to the gym, just move. Go outside, enjoy the summertime, take your kids with you, go on walks, whatever the case is, just move. So I would say, is it better to work out in the evening or morning? Personal preference. So my question would be back is, which one are you going to be more committed to? Are you going to be more committed to working out in the evening? Or are you going to be more committed to working out in the morning? Whatever one you can do for a long period of time is the one I would say is better for you. All right, the next part of that question is, should I eat an hour or more before? So something that I just learned through my program is that when you eat before your workout, you're not eating to fuel your workout. You're eating to keep your blood sugar because of the energy you already have. So in all reality, so let me put this in another perspective. What I'm eating today is going to affect my workout for tomorrow. Okay, so when I wake up, if you're a morning lifter, my best suggestion is you want cortisol high. Okay, cortisol is a hormone that gets a bad rep because we see it all over TV. like, oh my God, you got such high cortisol, you're going to die. Okay? Yes, you do want to manage your cortisol, but cortisol is actually helps with growth hormone. If you're trying to build muscle, which yes, ladies, you do want to build muscle. You do not want to be skinny and look flabby. Trust me, you will not look like a man unless you're taking steroids. Look, I've been working out for 14 years and I'm not all huge. So what makes you think that you're going to get bigger than me? You're not. Okay? So, yes, you want cortisol if you're a morning lifter. You want cortisol to be high. Okay? The reason being is because it has growth hormone relations. As soon as you eat, especially carbs, as soon as you eat carbs, you release a hormone called insulin. Insulin lowers cortisol. So that's why you get that energy crash, because cortisol actually helps with your energy. If you're eating carbs, then it's going to lower your cortisol. Okay, so if I was working out in the morning time, which I usually work out around 11, if I was working out and I was fasted, the only thing I would have is I'd have BCAAs. And the reason why I would have BCAAs is because leucine is going to help with not allowing my body to use my muscle as energy. Okay, so it's going to kind of fuel off of that. And then I would eat after my workout. But that's like if I'm working out as soon as I wake up, I'm going straight to the gym. And I'm also a big advocate of drinking water. So make sure you get your 20 ounces in before anything, because you want to fuel your body, you want to lubricate your joints, right? Now, if you're going to work out later, so for me personally, what I do is I work out 11. I also do intermittent fasting for 12 hours. So I don't eat after 8:30. 8:30 at night till 8:30 in the morning. So when that 8:30 in the morning comes, my first meal is a protein shake and is carbs. I do get a little bit of fats because I want to kind of balance out my levels. So like I said, when you eat a whole bunch of carbs, it's going to shoot up insulin and it's going to decrease cortisol. So I need something that's going to keep me balanced, and that's what fats do. Fats are slow digesting because they require a lot more energy from your body. Well, no, they don't. I take that back. But they're slow digesting compared to protein and fats, or carbs, excuse me. So when I eat just carbs by themselves, insulin shoots up. I feel tired within 30 minutes. Okay, so I need something that's going to give me a steady flow. So what I do, like I said, I do a protein shake, and I'll do like a banana, and I'll do like an orange, and I'll have like walnuts. So I just learned that walnuts are high in omega-3s. Okay, so we get a lot of omega-6 fats, and that's a whole nother different topic. But walnuts are high in omega-3s, so I try to get those. So then that way, by the time 11 o'clock comes, I am going to be a little bit hungry. You do want to be a little bit hungry because that means that my insulin's low, cortisol is high. So when I'm working out, my growth hormone is high because my cortisol is a little bit higher. Okay, so you don't want to go to the gym stupid hungry, like starving, but you also don't want to go to the gym full. You want to be a little bit hungry. That's perfectly fine. Okay, I'd actually recommend it. So hopefully that answers your question. I know that was kind of a lot, but yeah. So when is it better to work out? Whenever you can fit it in and stay consistent with it. Should you eat an hour or 4 hours before or more? If you're waking up and doing your workout, then I would highly suggest that you just drink your BCAAs and your water, do your workout, eat after. If you're not going to work out till later in the day, then yes, I would say at least an hour and a half to 2 hours. You want to have a high protein carb meal. Okay, keep your energy up, keep your blood sugar level. You don't want it to spike super high, so you need to have a good balance. All right, next question comes from Connie, who is not watching, but she will be watching later. Good pre and post food / drink foods for pre and post workout. All right, so kind of tying into Amy's. So I kind of just picked questions that were tying into each other. So pre-workout, this is very, very hard because I don't know your diet. Some people are doing keto. Some people wake up and just get straight to working out. Some people are on higher carbs. So pre-workout, I just kind of elaborated on what I did and why I do it. So I guess if I can give you something, it'd be like you want to be mindful of your blood sugars is the main thing you're trying to monitor for pre-workout. So fats are going to manipulate that. It's going to be slow to get into your system. So that'd be a good pre-workout, in my opinion, is to have a little bit more of a fats. Definitely want to have protein because you're about to break your body down. So I'd recommend like 20 grams of protein and some carbs, probably the same, about 20 carbs, maybe 30 to 40, depending on how intense you're about to go. But I would definitely recommend all three, in my opinion. Now, if you're doing keto, obviously it's a little bit different for you. I would still probably recommend that you get protein in. Obviously, you're going to get fats because you're going to be on a super high fat diet. But I would definitely probably recommend getting some protein before. So, like I said, I eat nuts and fruits in a protein shake before, so it keeps my blood sugars level. Now, post-workout, I definitely recommend a protein shake to anybody because we just got done breaking our body down. So the analogy I use for that is if we're trying to build this awesome house from an abandoned building, right? So we bring in the big wrecking ball. The wrecking ball comes in and it knocks down all the bricks. That's our muscles. You know, this is our house, so it breaks it down through a workout. Now, if we don't build it back up and we just constantly keep beating it down and you're like, man, it's been 2 months and I still don't have this house yet. Well, it's probably because you don't have the right macronutrients to build that house, or you don't have the right bricks or the right workers to get that house built because you just keep knocking it down, knocking it down, knocking it down. So rest is definitely super sufficient along with your nutrition. So post-workout, protein shake because you're trying to rebuild what you just broke down, okay? And definitely carbs. If you're not doing keto, you definitely want a faster absorbing carbs. This is where a little bit more of a sugary food will come in handy. So by sugary, I don't mean fruits because fruits are more for glycogen in the liver. You need something that's for glycogen in the muscles, and that's usually a simple sugar. So this is the time that I would definitely recommend a high molecular carb. So you can go to Vitamin Shop, GNC, whatever, and you can just ask them, hey, do you guys sell high molecular carbs, or waxy corn maize or something like that, something that's going to spike. This is where you want insulin to spike. You want to spike that insulin so then that way it can drive home the protein, because what's the point of taking the protein if it's not going to get into the muscle? And that's what insulin will do. Insulin's a storage hormone. So when you think of insulin, think of storage. It's storing something. And I'd rather be storing my muscles with protein than storing my body with fat. Okay, so I would definitely recommend a super quick carb and high protein. Now your ratios could balance out. So for me, I just did leg day today and I sweat a lot and I burn the most calories on leg day because I go the hardest. So my ratio was I did 40 grams of protein and about 70 to 80 grams of carbs after my workout. So what that looked like was I did 2 scoops of my protein powder. I put it in some almond milk unsweetened, and I did 1 banana, which was 110 grams. So that was about 22 carbs right there. And I did one serving, okay, not one bowl. I weigh my stuff out, 1 serving of Raisin Bran. Because let's face it, it's just sugary cereal, and it's not like fruit. I just said that fruit is more for glycogen or sugar for your liver. Okay, I need sugar for my muscles. So I did Raisin Bran because it's a simple sugar. It's very sugary, no cereal, so that's what I ate. I used 6 ounces of 2% milk. Okay, so that was my post-workout. Was I think sugar and I think protein. Okay, I weigh my stuff out because I don't want to overdo it, but I definitely want to think sugar during this time, so then that way my body will utilize the protein into the muscles. So kind of, I hope that answers your question and why. Okay. Next question comes from Tasha, lady who goes to my church. I don't know if she's watching. So she just started doing keto. So let me get into the more keto people. The last 2 questions are kind of more of a keto people. Okay, so I did keto, not true keto, but I did a low carb diet back in 2016, 2017. And let me say something, I got super ripped. That's probably the most ripped that I've ever been in my entire life. But also let me say something, I was pretty scrawny. So I'm not saying that you're going to get scrawny, but I'm going to say that I was not as built as I am now. But I think that's because I didn't know what I know now. But going back to that, so let me put it out there, I'm not against keto. I definitely think that if it works for you, it works for you, but it's not a one-size-fit-all type deal. So if you do not do keto, do not feel ashamed that you don't do keto. Okay? There's no big thing. If you like your carbs, perfect. Because we're thinking long-term goals. So for my keto people, if you don't see yourself doing this in 5, 10, 15 years, then did it really work? Because our purpose is to build a lifestyle, not just a summertime change. Okay, so that's all I have to say about the keto. So how many calories while doing keto? This is a tough one because every individual is going to vary about how many calories that they need. So my best thing, the way that I do my nutrition coaching, is I need you to log. So I need to know about how many calories you're eating right now. And there's a huge reason why. I actually just learned this from my nutritional certification that I'm working towards. I love this philosophy. It makes a lot of sense. So everybody has what's called a BMR, a basal metabolic rate, and a RMR, a resting metabolic rate. So how many calories that you burn just from sitting here. So right now, just from me talking, I am burning calories. Just from you watching, you're burning calories, okay? Because it takes calories to breathe in, and it takes calories to breathe out. It takes calories to blink your eyes. It takes calories for me to be nervously moving all over the place. So it takes calories to do all this type of stuff. So what I need to find out is about how many calories a day that you are currently eating. So I'd say I need at least 3 days max, but 7 days would be preferred. Because if you're eating, let's say you're eating like 3,000, 3,500 calories a day on average throughout the week, and your BMR is only, I don't know, 1,500, 1,600, you're basically doubling, your BMR. So you're eating double. And I also give you a 1,200 calorie diet because that's what your BMR is. You'd probably kill me, for one, because you'd be starving. 2, your body adapts to what's called metabolic adaptation. So your body is so used to receiving this many calories that if I was to drastically cut it by 1,800 calories, your body would go in shock. And it would do the complete opposite of what you want it to do. You would begin to lose the weight, but you would be doing it in starvation mode. And that is not the way to go. Okay, so most coaches who say, I can fix you in 21 days, I can give you this 21-day meal plan, I can do this for you, you need to run, because they're about to damage you, because they're going to put your measurements or your age, weight, height, sex into an equation, come up with some BMR that may not be accurate, and then they're going to give you a calorie deficit, and then it's just going to damage your hormones. So you also asked me, how can this damage my hormones? It can damage your hormones because if you cut your calories too fast, too quick, you're going to go into starvation mode. You go into starvation mode, your body's going to have high out of control cortisol. We do want to have high cortisol at times, but if it's just constantly high and it's on a high stress demand, it's going to be super bad because your cortisol is so high, insulin's going to be low, so you're never going to recover because cortisol is too high. You're not going to sleep good, which is a huge factor in recovery. You're always going to be hungry. So when you finally get to the satiated state, your body's not going to know how to do that anymore. What's the hormone called? Leptin. Leptin's the hormone that makes you feel full. So your ghrelin, I believe, ghrelin hormones what makes you feel hungry. So that's going to be dominant, and leptin's going to be depleted. So you're never going to feel full even if I gave you more calories. So this is how you're going to damage yourself. So you want to figure out about how many calories you're eating now. Only way to do that is to log and preferably weigh everything out. Excuse me. So then that way we can give you a calorie deficit from that. About 250 to 500 calorie deficit lower. I would also say that if you're a little bit more overweight / on the obese side, I would definitely recommend a lower carb diet, especially if you're very sedentary. And the reason being is that you're not really moving to utilize carbs. Okay, so if you're eating a whole bunch of carbs and you're living a sedentary lifestyle, you are doing more damage to yourself. Okay, because carbs is the body's first source of energy, but it's also not essential, meaning that you don't have to eat carbs to survive. You don't. Now, fats and proteins, you absolutely do. They are essential. You cannot, the body does not make them. So that's what the essential means. The essential means that the body does not make them, so you have to eat food in order to get it. Okay, so fats and proteins, essential. Carbs are not. Those are just more of an energy source for one, and here in our culture for our own pleasures. Okay, so I would definitely recommend somebody who's more sedentary. You don't really need the carbs, because if you're sitting at your desk just doing this, yes, your brain needs to function, but you don't need super amount of carbs because you're not getting up, working on an assembly line, training people, whatever, or working out super intensely. So I would definitely recommend somebody who's just starting out or who is a more sedentary person. You want to lower your carbs. So hopefully that answers your question. So how many calories? Give me a food log. Let me see where you're at about how many calories you're currently eating. And then we can go from there from a calorie deficit. So then that way we're not cutting it too drastically and over time damage your hormones. And then how can it damage our hormones? Because if you cut it too fast, too quick, your body's going to go into shock. So you have to understand that our body was made to survive. We have the privilege of just going to Walmart or Meijer and buying our food, opening up the refrigerator, eating whenever we wanted to, whereas back in the day you had to plant or hunt. So our body is made to survive. And if it feels like it's going to go into starvation mode, then it's not going to want to give up anything. So the scale's not going to move, and your body fat percentage sure isn't going to move, because it's like, you want me to release this, but you're telling me that we're in starvation mode. It's just not going to happen. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And then our last question comes from Diane, who also joined the group with Sherry in semi-private sessions with me. And her question is, do you maintain a full feeling? So I'm going to assume she's asking me personally, do I maintain a full feeling? Or do you need more food to stay satisfied sooner than my next meal? So I'm going to assume she's, again, asking me personally. So do I maintain a full feeling? I would say yes, I do. The reason being is because I'm not super crunched on like the whole how many calories I'm eating per se, because I know that I'm getting way more than 10,000 steps for the most part, and my exercises are super intense. So I'm not just going to the gym, doing a set, texting on my phone, 2 minutes later, doing a set, texting on my phone. When I go to the gym, I'm going to the gym focused on this is what I want to do, this is how long my breaks are, this is the intensity that I'm going to do, and this is the rep range. So what's the point of going to the gym if you're not going to go hard and push yourself to that next level? There's no point. Okay. So for my type of training, I need carbs. So I get a lot of carbs. Now, if I was a marathon runner or just someone who does exercise for longer than a minute, we'll say, so a minute and a half, 2 minutes, 3 minutes longer, which is usually a runner, I need more fats. But most of my nutrition comes from protein and carbs, and probably like 100 grams of fat. Excuse me. And do I feel full? Yeah, because I try to eat a lot of fiber, and I try to eat a lot of, well, not a lot of protein, but at least my body weight in protein. So I currently weigh like 190, so I try to get at least 190 grams, and then from there, I know I'm getting about 100 grams of fat, and then the rest I just eat from carbs. So you're probably asking me, well, why aren't you getting like the 1.5 grams per body weight like they say on the internet? Well, what they don't tell you on the internet is that fats and carbs are called protein sparing nutrients, meaning that the body will burn those first before it gets to the protein, which is all the more reason to eat protein, because you want to have sufficient enough protein. But and I'm not trying to do a cut, so I'm not training to per se lose weight, so I don't need super high protein. Now if I was doing a leaning phase, then yes, I would want to increase my protein, because now my body's going into a depletion mode or a lower calorie mode. So now my body's going to run slower. So yes, it's a double-edged sword when it comes to dieting. You're actually harming your body when you go into a calorie deficit, because your body's so used to living at this certain amount that this is how it thrives. So I'll give you a little quick tip into what I'm doing with my client Connie. She's been killing it. She's lost 20 pounds within a few weeks, and she was in a calorie deficit for about 4 weeks. And this week I actually told her, I want you to eat your maintenance calories. So she basically went up about 450 calories. So she was eating like, I think it was 12 or 1300, somewhere around there. But now she's eating like 1800 calories. And the reason being is we're trying to throw off her metabolism. So we're trying to, in a good way, we're trying to tell the body like, hey, we know these past 4 weeks, you've been giving us what we wanted, which is weight loss. But now this week, I'm going to dedicate it all into you, and I'm going to give you exactly what you want, which is more calories. Okay, so I know it doesn't make sense. You're like, well, that doesn't make sense. I have to live in a calorie deficit, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you do. But just understand that your body slows down when you're in a calorie deficit. Okay, so we're trying to give it what it wants while it gives us what we want. So in all reality, what we're trying to do, in all theory, is we made Connie go down for 4 weeks, but she's going to go neutral. So she's not going to go above, but she's going to eat what her maintenance calories is, which is those calories that the BMR kicks into. And then next week, we can go back down to a calorie deficit. So that now we're throwing it off, because that now it becomes, what do I do when I'm at, let's say we're at 1500 calories a day. And then you're like, okay, the scale stopped. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to cut it down to 1300 calories a day and then exercise more? Well, that's, in theory, that's what our mind goes to, right? We're like, yeah, because now I need to eat less and burn more. Okay, well, what happens when that stops working? You go down to 1100 calories. Then you go down to 800 calories. Then you go down to no calories. It's like, well, what are you going to do then? You're just going to starve to death because you're trying to lose this weight? Okay, so we have to manipulate it. There's so much more to nutrition than just calories in, calories out. Okay, I'm learning so much more about it. So, yeah, do I stay satisfied? Absolutely. If I'm hungry still, I'll eat more. But I usually try to eat something that's more fibrous, or I just drink water. So one thing about intermittent fasting has taught me is that when I think I'm hungry, I'm usually not really hungry. I'm usually just bored. Okay, so yeah, that's where you gotta decipher it. Like, are you really hungry, or are you just eating because it's there, you're bored, and you don't have nothing to do? So I only fast for 12 hours. I don't do the full 16. I tried it, and it was working for me, but it's just, I'm like, what's the point? My workouts just wasn't as good as they are now when I do 12. So it's all about knowing your body. So hope I answered all those questions. Can't really tell who's on as I'm getting old. My eyes are, I'm getting a little bit more nearsighted. But yeah, so if you guys have questions, please feel free to leave those into the comments, and maybe I'll try to do this again next week, and I'll try to answer those questions on there. I hope that this information was helpful. Again, I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian, but I am learning, and from my own experiences, I'm just giving you guys the 100% genuine best answer that I know. And if you don't agree, please share why, and we can talk about it. Maybe you can teach me something, because I don't know it all. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Thanks for logging on. Hope you guys have a good night. Don't forget to put what you had for dinner today. And let's keep it moving. This is Tomas Ramirez from Positive Gains Training. Thanks for letting me serve you guys. Have a good night, and God bless.